Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Caleb, and today I want to talk to you about how to earn free Luna. Now I did a part 1 on this just a few days ago, and I'm going to have that link in the description. And in this video I'm just going to be getting into more advanced strategies. So with that, let's get right into it. So I kind of break these strategies down into 3 groups. In the last video I went over some beginner strategies. This one is going to be kind of more intermediate strategies. So these are going to be a little bit more time consuming, but in my opinion, they are going to be a little bit more rewarding and still take advantage of potential tax implications that you might have to deal with in the future. So the first strategy that I want to talk about is basically to be a liquidity pool provider on Astroport. Now, in the Terra ecosystem, there are a couple different projects, but Astro is by far the #1 decentralized exchange on the Terra blockchain. They have many different pools, and the pool that I'm going to be recommending in this video is the bLuna Luna pool. So this pool basically facilitates transactions between Luna and bLuna, which you can put into Anchor. Now, I recommend this because it's going to have very low impermanence loss, which is basically caused by the fluctuations in prices between the assets. But since bLuna and Luna will stay roughly equivalent to each other, you're going to basically minimize the impermanence loss that you incur. So to do this strategy, the first step is to acquire bLuna. So you will have to swap and recognize any gains, from a tax standpoint. But if you're relatively new to this, it's not going to matter. So for the amount that you want to use in this strategy, take half of that Luna and convert it to bLuna on the Astroport DEX. And then you're going to be providing bLuna and an equivalent amount of Luna in terms of value to the liquidity pool. And then after that, once you have it on a liquidity pool, you're going to be basically placing it on Astroport. And then they're going to be starting to give you roughly 15% APR for basically providing liquidity so that others can basically swap between these two assets without having high slippage. And they're going to be paying you about 15% for this strategy, and they're going to be paying you in exclusively Astro tokens. Now, you're not earning free Luna here, but you are earning free Astro. Now, with this Astro token, you can either sell it for Luna, which is kind of the main purpose of this video, or if you want to have kind of a more risky approach, you can stake that Astro in their governance pool and earn roughly 65% APR for doing so. Now, this does make it more risky because you might not get that 15% APR if the price of Astro drops over time. But if the price of Astro increases or at least stays the same, you'll be earning at least 65% on that Astro that you keep. So really, if you're unsure of what to do, I would just sell and be more conservative in this case. But if you want to have more risk, then I would encourage to partition and save maybe some of your rewards in Astro and stake it, and have some of your rewards be sold for Luna. So to just demonstrate how to do the first strategy, you first come to astroport.fi at this link here. You go to swap, and you're basically going to be taking your Luna from your Terra Station wallet, and you're going to be swapping it to bLuna. And right now the peg is actually pretty darn close. This is actually relatively rare in bear markets. Right now we're in a bit of a bull market for Luna, so that's why we're seeing this equal amount for each token. Okay, so once you have B Luna, so say you want to put in 10 Luna in this strategy. What you would want to do is you would want to take half of that and put it in B Luna. So you would have 5 B Luna and 5 Luna. And then once you have those 2 tokens, you would go to the pool page, scroll down to B Luna Luna, and then you're going to be selecting an option here that's going to appear once you connect your wallet in order to provide liquidity for this pool. Once you provide liquidity for the pool, you'll start accumulating Astro tokens, which you can redeem at any time, full vesting. And with the Astro tokens, you can either sell it, so you can go back to swap and just swap from Astro to UST, or you can go to the staking tab and stake Astro for roughly 40% APY. But there is going to be risks involved, which I've just mentioned. Okay, so the second strategy that I have for you all is to basically earn yield on borrowed UST. Now, I like this strategy a lot because you can save a ton of money in terms of taxes by doing this strategy. So if you have a big gain on Luna, which at this point everybody does right now, the last Luna price was about 115 that I've checked. So if you have a gain and you immediately swap it, you're going to recognize a gain, and so you're going to be taxed on that. So the cool thing with this is if you already have B Luna, you can basically provide it onto Anchor and borrow off of it with basically no tax implications. Now the bad news is if you have just Luna, you will need to swap to B Luna, which would be a taxable event. So I think that if you're just starting your portfolio, definitely consider this option, because in the future you're going to thank yourself for having B Luna and being able to borrow from that without having to incur a taxable transaction. Okay, so basically the gist of the strategy is take your B Luna, you provide it onto the Anchor borrow page, and then you're going to be earning rewards in the form of Anchor, and you can basically either sell or stake that Anchor, depending on your risk tolerance. But the main part of this strategy is you're going to be providing B Luna and borrowing UST for a relatively low amount. Historically, that's fluctuated between minus 2% and 2% interest. So you're roughly being able to borrow UST for free. So with this UST, there's 2 different things you can do with it. One is you can place it into Anchor Earn and earn 20% interest, or you can put it into my personal favorite strategy, which is you can put it into Solend and earn 13.3% APR just for lending it out, and still be able to borrow other assets for you to do whatever with. Or you can basically loop that in Solend. So basically you deposit UST and basically you borrow USDC for a pretty cheap rate, and then swap that to UST and just put it back in to the lending pool, and just basically grow your UST lending pool by leveraging your position for basically free. And there's not going to be too much risk because UST and USDC are going to remain at peg at $1. So the simpler strategy, though, is just provide B Luna, borrow UST, take that UST and put it into Anchor Earn and earn roughly 20% on that. The other thing you can do with AUST is you can put it into Kujira, which is a platform for basically liquidating people. But that's going to be more of an advanced strategy, which I'm going to get into on the next video. So to demonstrate how to do strategy 2, you would first want to go to Anchor Protocol and go to the Borrow tab. From here, you're going to basically scroll down, and you're going to be providing BLUNA. And I didn't mention this earlier, but you can actually provide bonded ETH or staked AVAX actually as well. These two are pretty new collateral types that Anchor has added in the past few months. But let's focus on just providing BLUNA. Take that BLUNA, and you're going to be earning interest when you borrow from that. So if you borrow, you can borrow UST, and right now you're paying 6% to borrow the UST. Now this is abnormally high, and I think that the reason why is because Luna's undergoing major fluctuations right now. So Anchor hasn't had enough time to adjust to this market. And then with that UST, you can go to the Earn tab, and you can just very simply deposit that UST into Anchor Earn and earn 19.5% APY. Alternatively, you can go to Solend, and you can take your UST and deposit it here for about 13% APY. This is on another chain. This is on the Solana chain. So you will have to go through a bridge. I recommend Wormhole, just for its simplicity. And once you bridge over from Wormhole, you can then take your wrapped UST and deposit it here. And the last strategy that I mentioned was you can deposit here, and you can actually borrow USDC very cheaply at 3% APY. So if you can borrow for 3% APY and then just swap that USDC for more UST and deposit that additional UST back into the pool here, you can basically just loop this a couple different times, which I call the recursive yield strategy, and basically increase your yield to probably about 20-30% on that UST. So I go over how to do this in a older video of mine, which I will also link in the description below. So the third and final strategy that I have for you guys is to basically farm Luna derivatives. And I think that the best way to do it right now is with Prism. So Prism is interesting because it's basically taking your Luna and basically refracting it into two derivatives of Luna. One is Y Luna, which stands for Luna yield, and the other is P Luna, which stands for Luna principal. So the Y Luna basically represents the Luna yield that you would get for staking Luna. And the P Luna represents the underlying Luna that's locked up within this protocol. So this strategy, though, is going to be focusing on using Y Luna because right now they have two pretty awesome farms that you can use for Y Luna. So in this example, I've basically illustrated just to take your Luna, refract it into Y Luna and P Luna, and if you want to be taking a little bit extra risk, you can swap all your P Luna to Y Luna. So now you're going to be having kind of a leveraged exposure to Y Luna. And then with that Y Luna, you can either stake it in the Y Luna staking pool or in the Prism farm. So the Y Luna staking pool will pay you out in Y Luna and P Luna. So this is basically just you staking that Y Luna and just earning the yield rewards that you would get just for staking Luna. And that's going to yield you about 8.5% APR. And the other pool that you can stake in is the Prism farm. So this one is really cool because you can take your Y Luna, still stake it, but now you're going to be earning Prism token at about 24% APR. And the reason why this APR is going to be a little bit higher is because they are incentivizing you to earn Prism. So these are incentives. And then basically with this Prism token, you can get additional yield by staking this Prism token and earning X Prism. And then taking that X Prism and putting that into something what's called an AMPS farm. And the AMPS farm is going to basically just boost your yield in the Prism farm as a reward for keeping your X Prism and contributing to the protocol's governance. So obviously that is going to be a more risky strategy if you use the Prism farm and you stake Prism and basically boost your rewards, because the Prism price could drop and you basically lose all the yield that you got with your Y Luna. But the nice thing is your Y Luna is still going to be there. You're not going to lose your Y Luna. That's going to be following the price of Luna. So really the risk is in the income that you earn from this strategy. So to do strategy 3, you would come to Prism Protocol and go to the Refract tab. And from here, you can take your Luna. So let's just say I have 1 Luna. And it's going to give you 1 P Luna and 1 Y Luna. And this might be confusing at first, but basically P Luna plus Y Luna, like the value of each, needs to add up to the value of Luna, because each kind of represents a partition of Luna. So just kind of think of it like you're partitioning a hard drive into 2 parts. That's kind of what P Luna and Y Luna is doing here. And from here, you're going to be receiving P Luna and Y Luna. And then if you go to the swap tab, you can take your P Luna and swap it with Y Luna. So right now the value of Y Luna is much higher than P Luna because the utility of Y Luna is much greater than P Luna as of now. You can also avoid the refracting process and just take your Luna and swap it to Y Luna. So you could do that as well. Either one works. Roughly, it's going to be the same price. Okay, so once you have your Y Luna, you're going to be going to the stake tab, and you can either stake it in the Y Luna staking pool for 8.5% APR, or you can stake it in the Prism farm for 23% APR. So again, just as a review, so Y Luna staking is you're just staking Y Luna as if you're staking Luna, and you're going to be receiving P Luna and Y Luna as the rewards. If you stake your Y Luna in the Prism farm, you're still going to be earning the kind of the staked yield that you get from Y Luna, but you're also going to be earning a promotional rate because you're being paid in Prism tokens. So let's explore this Prism farming strategy a little bit more. So if I go to the stake tab, right now my base APR is 23%, and my AMPS APR is 0% because I actually haven't staked any Prism right now. So the cool thing is, once you stake your Y Luna, you're going to be earning Prism, and once you claim your Prism, you can go to the governance tab and stake your Prism here for 18% or 19% APR and receive X Prism. And then with this X Prism, you can go to the AMPS vault and basically pledge your X Prism, which means to just kind of lock up your X Prism and just kind of make a promise that you're not going to be selling X Prism. Now you can unpledge this at any point, but you're going to be losing all of the amps that you earned while pledging your X Prism. So while your X Prism is pledged, you're going to be earning amps. And if you click this button here, you're activating your amps, which will then take a look at how much you've staked and how much the base APR is, and basically append or just add an extra APR as a reward for being a Prism governance staker. So just to review, I've gone over 3 different strategies. The first one is to become a liquidity pool provider on Astroport. The second one is to earn yield on borrowed UST with Anchor. And then the third one is to farm Luna derivatives like on Prism. So these are just kind of the main strategies that I wanted to talk about. There are many more coming up, which I'm going to be talking about in future videos. Now, before I wanted to end the video, I just wanted to kind of talk about a mentality for moderate strategies or medium difficulty strategies. So the first one is to understand that farming tokens are very volatile. And I think that if you choose to keep or buy a farming token, you need to recognize kind of what it is, what the tokenomics are, and to really assess your risk before kind of diving into this farming token. Many people are just farming tokens and just dumping them. So definitely tread carefully when dealing with farming tokens. The other one is to never allocate all your Luna in one strategy. Okay, you definitely don't want to put all of your Luna under the risk of a contract having an exploit in it and ending up losing all of your Luna. So I personally will spread my Luna across many different strategies, some of which being in the ones that I mentioned in this video. And the third one is to think of tax implications for every click that you make in DeFi. So every click you make is most likely either swapping or collecting income or trading. So really be cognizant of that fact, because during tax season, at least in my tax season, I had many trades where I recognized a gain where I thought that I wasn't recognizing the gain, even though I haven't actually brought it out into US dollars. So that's why I would recommend borrowing instead of swapping in this case. And then the fourth one is to just follow Twitter users for new strategies. So some of my personal favorites are Donku R, Crypto Harry, and Cephii. So these guys are really cool for finding new strategies in the Terra ecosystem. And of course, you can follow me at DeFi Supply, where I post some of these strategies, just general guides on how to navigate the Terra ecosystem and other ecosystems as well. So with that, you can follow me for more at DeFi Supply on Twitter, or you can subscribe to me at DeFi Supply on YouTube. And once again, this content is just for informational and educational purposes only. So make sure to do your own research before diving into any of these strategies. Make sure to post your questions in the comments, and I will get back to you on that. So with that, I will see you guys next time.